The shopping center had been the hub of our community. We had a grocery store, we had a pharmacy, we had laundromat.
And gradually they all closed one by one.
The Winn-Dixie grocery store was the main tenant in that shopping center. So at the point when Winn-Dixie closed, the shopping center has gone through a number of changes, but has declined ever since. Now we got this abandoned eyesore in our community.
We needed a grocery store because we live in a desert. A lot of activity went on in the shopping center. So in my mind's eyes, one day it will be a renaissance.
This would be a typical meal for a kid living in a food desert. You would have a cup of noodles, which would be your entree. You would have Cheetos or some other form of chip that would be your side. And then you would have a sugary dessert. And you wash that down with sugary drink. Not juice, but drink.
Greensboro is tied for second place in the United States in food insecurity. The growing percentage of the city's population living in poverty places us in the top 10 nationally. It is not a coincidence that we rank high in these two statistics. Hunger and poverty go hand in hand.
Became concerned about food deserts maybe about 3 years ago. It was brought to my attention at a county commissioner meeting before I was elected that we had a serious problem with food deserts in Guilford County. And if you look at the map on the food deserts in Guilford County and also look at a map of my district, it's pretty much an overlay.
When it comes to food insecurity, Greensboro is tied for second in the country. At the same time in the city, poverty is growing. When viewed as a percentage of our population, Greensboro's growth places us among top 10 cities in the country.
And also it's an area where there are transportation issues that make the access to the foods that are available very difficult. So if you're talking about traveling 2 miles and you don't have your own car, then you're either going to take a taxi cab or public transportation or get a neighbor to take you, all of whom incur additional costs for the cost of the food.
You know, for someone to have to jump on a city bus, public transportation, go 5-6 miles away to another grocery store, lug bags and everything else, and take that round trip time that would probably take 3 to 4 hours to do while getting home, then trying to prepare food for a family or things like that, it's just not efficient.
So the fact that there's a Walmart 2 miles away doesn't mean that you're able to even enjoy the lower prices at Walmart because of the additional transportation costs. This is what it actually means for people in the community to not have access to quality food.
So the Winn-Dixie pulls out in 1998, and over all that time, people still have to eat, and yet there is no grocery store there. So it's a good question as to what is that? How does that even happen?
Let's look at the national chain first. They had to answer to investors, which means their profit margin had to be high. And they felt that either the area didn't have enough people, which we knew it did, to support a grocery store, or their profit margin wouldn't be high enough.
The corporate leaders of Winn-Dixie made a corporate decision to consolidate stores and eventually led to the decision to close all of their stores in the state of North Carolina, the ones in affluent neighborhoods, the ones in lower income neighborhoods. This was a decision made on the basis of how can we maximize our profit, not on the basis of whether or not we have a profit.
I think what you're looking at there is a fundamental piece of irrationality in the economic system that we have right now that is not particularly concerned about meeting people's needs. It is fundamentally concerned with making profits for investors.
The only thing that's currently in that shopping center right now is the Family Dollar store. You can buy some food in there that is not a good selection of good, wholesome, healthy food at all, but they have some of the highest sales of any Family Dollar store in the city because of the fact that there's nothing else available to people in that community. We used to have a grocery store out here. It was nice, it was convenient, it allowed people to eat healthier food. We don't have one now, we want one.